What's up? Welcome back to Lit the Noise. I got another MPC live video for y'all on looping samples. For those of you who requested it, I had a couple people ask me the question, what's the best way to loop a sample for the entire length of a sequence? Alright, so I loaded up a drum break because I am a hip-hop appreciator. Pretty much if you think about it, loops are the fundamental of what hip-hop is made of. Like back in the day, DJs having two identical copies of the same record and beat juggling that break so they could loop it endlessly. So first thing you need, a loop that's an even amount of bars. So for here, I loaded up this drum break and it's, I believe it's 4 bars. Let's count it. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 2-bar loop because every 4 counts is 1 bar. Alright, so once you got your loop, once it trimmed up nicely, you want to detect your tempo. So here's my tempo. It's a good thing to know. I went in and set my tempo to what my sample tempo is, what my loop tempo is. I want to go back into sample edit. And I'm going to show you guys a way that you can loop your sample endlessly within a drum program. So you're going to go to the loop icon right here on the right. We want that to be activated. Now going back out to menu, program edit. I have put my sample on this pad, but as of right now I won't loop as it is on one shot. In order to loop a sample endlessly, you're gonna have to put it on note on. Now that my sample's on note on, I can't just trigger it like I would if it was on one shot. One shot, you press the pad one time and then the sample plays out for its entire length. This is the only way to loop it when it's on a pad endlessly. I had to hold the pad for the length that I want the sample to play out. But this way the sample will actually loop endlessly. So here we go. Alright, so of course I don't want to hold the pad for the entirety of the time that I want it looping. I can sequence it, so I'm going to sequence it in at 2 bars, for that's the length of my sample of my drum break. Okay, so my sequence is 2 bars long. Say I want this, say my track is going to be, my sequence is going to be a lot longer than 2 bars. Let's say it's 16 bars. Okay, so if I want to extend the length of my loop, I can just go back here into the grid view, and the MIDI event that I just sequenced for that drum loop is 2 bars. I can actually go here and edit end and then extend that to the full length of the 16 bars. Alright, so moving over to another sequence. So this is what I learned in my process of trying to figure this video out for you guys, because I haven't actually explored audio tracks, so I decided to take a look at that. You had mentioned about looping a sample within a DAW, and this is the closest thing I would think of to something that resembles a DAW, and that's the audio tracks right here in the MPC Live. To get a sample in here, we just go to Browse Samples. I'm going to do that real quick one more time. There's a little button down here that says Browse Samples, and it'll show you all the samples that you have loaded up in the memory of the MPC Live at that moment. So it's not your hard drive, but it's what is loaded within your project, or your flash RAM, I guess that's what you'd call it. So I have my drum break right there. I'm going to go ahead and hit Do It, so it brings it in. So I got a 2-bar loop and I got a 2-bar sequence here. To extend my sequence to a longer length, I could just go ahead and do that. So let's say let's go to about 36. So I got my loop right there at the beginning. So I can loop this. I can create a loop point using my knob. What's the bottom one right here? Q-Link. Make sure that light's right there. That's the first light. Okay. I use this bottom knob. I'm gonna pull this all the way to the end of my loop right there. And so now this will effectively loop the sample. Alright, so I had an idea because I've used Logic a lot in the past, and Logic has this thing where you can just pretty much press a loop button and it'll loop it through the entire length of your sequence. So I was kind of racking my brain trying to find something like that. And I should have figured, okay, well, MPC is kind of limited in audio tracks in that area. And it was right under my nose. There's another thing that you can actually do. So I want to move that loop point back. Just want to extend it to the whole length of the sequence to 36 bars. So I got my 2-bar loop right there. Utilizing these tools up here at the top of the screen, and that's what I want to use. The little arrow mouse looking tool. Okay. So now I can select. And something that I missed right off, I was looking at the screen for a minute, I missed is the duplicate right here at the bottom of the screen. So this will actually duplicate my sample very quickly, very easily. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see. Now it's doubled it up. And I don't got to worry about where my loop head is. I can just hit duplicate and it will duplicate it at the end of the very last copy of that. So I'm going to do that again. But also what's cool, I'm going to try to do this with the one hand, is you can hit shift like you would like on a computer and select all these loops, and then I can go ahead and duplicate that again, and then I've duplicated it a lot faster. Well, I gotta do it by holding shift, selecting all these, and then I can duplicate those again. See that? Duplicate. Let's get to the end of this. Duplicated for the entire length of my sequence.